I wake up. I tend to wake up late because I write at night. That's just my rhythm. I brush my teeth and I have breakfast. I take a little bit of time doing it, and then I figure out where do I need to go today. One of the things about Bangkok in particular is that this is a very enchanted city. I mean, apart from the fact that you see San Prapum on every street corner, everyone over here has some kind of story regarding an encounter with the sacred. You know, and I'm hungry to document as many of those stories as possible. So, I mean, I'm constantly on Google or on social media trying to find out where is the next, is there a new Tewalai that's opened up somewhere? You know, is there a new Tewalai that's opened up at a new park? Is there a new Ganesha statue that's come up in a new neighborhood or whatever? Where is it? Why has it come there? What was the objective or intention of the people who put this together? So I'm constantly looking for those kinds of places to go visit, to take photos of, to document, and to hopefully write about it. Thais, they love Hinduism for sure, but when they go out and try to bring Hindu things into their practices, they're being very strategic about what they're bringing in, you know? They're not adopting everything. There are specific gods that are more coveted than others, and Ganesha was one of them. The first big Ganesha shrine in Thailand was built in Nakhon Nayok.
Okay.
Nakhon Nayok. There's a temple over there. It was built by a Buddhist monk. It was the first temple in Thailand which claims to have one of the largest Ganesha statues in the world. This was built in the early 2000s. After that, you have a bunch of other temples that pop up in the greater Bangkok area. Chachoengsao Sao being the main site for these construction initiatives. Chachoengsao Sao today calls itself Thailand's national Ganesha city. They have 3 of the world's tallest Ganesha statues. There's like a 150-foot tall standing Ganesha made almost entirely of bronze. Another one, it's like a sleeping Ganesha. I'm sure you've seen these. The sleeping Ganesha was featured in the Hindi movie PK.
Ah, yes, I've seen PK.
Yeah, there's a song in PK, Bhagwan Hai Kahari Tu. If you watch the song, I mean, he's basically touring around India, you know, trying to find God who will help him get that remote control to send him back to his planet. And there's like a frame in there, I kid you not, there's a frame in there of the sleeping Ganesha. And that sleeping Ganesha is not in India, it's in Chachoengsao. You know?
Yeah, you never expect that.
Yeah, you don't expect that. The broader pantheon of Hindu gods, Ganesha is relatively recent. And when I say recent, I mean like roughly we can say it's 2nd century BCE to 2nd century AD. So like 200 years before Christ to 200 years after Christ. That's when Ganesha sort of shows up in the art historical and archaeological record of South Asia. There probably was some kind of elephant-headed deity in South Asia, in Hinduism before that. But in terms of seeing that deity as a physical presence, this is the rough time frame that we have, you know? So that's when we see the first Ganesha statues show up. Why do they show up? Who worships them? What's the sort of ritual context around those statues? We're not completely sure. Sort of shows up out of nowhere with very little trace of his ancestry or his forbearance or whatever, you know? But the moment this god shows up, he suddenly becomes like, starts showing up everywhere. Like, I mean, the oldest Ganesha shrine that we know with some certainty, is a shrine in central India, in the area that's today called Madhya Pradesh, like the borders of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Within the next 100 years, you have Ganesha shrines popping up pretty much everywhere in South Asia, all the way from North India down to Tamil Nadu, down to the tip of Tamil Nadu, you know? Within the next, between 200 to 400 AD, you have Ganesha shrines popping up just all over. And not only do you have Ganesha shrines popping up all over South Asia, within the next 100 years, you have Ganesha shrines popping up in China and Thailand. So in fact, one of the oldest Ganesha representations that we know of outside of India is in China. In the Dunhuang caves, there's this collection of very elaborate rock caves in Gansu province in western central China. They're Buddhist, but in the middle of those Buddhist caves, there's this series of wall paintings dedicated to the king of ghosts. And it's Ganesha, it's an elephant-headed sort of figure, who's sitting next to these other kings of ghosts. So if you look at it in that way, Ganesha has been outside India for almost as long as he's been inside India, So at that level, Ganesha is maybe one of the first international deities of Hinduism.